All right, we're getting started nice and dark and early this morning, and the reason for that is that I'm wanting to make use of this right here, the laser level. And one thing that I can do with this is put down a 90-degree angle. And this is a lot easier than trying to measure it out and do it that way. But the problem is that for outside, it does not work at all once it starts getting light. So we're gonna try getting this roughly laid out before we start getting too much light coming on. Get some, at least a few step-in stakes in the ground. That way I've got stuff to work off from a little bit later once we can't use the laser level anymore. Man, getting that one set up down there, that was tough. I'm still out of breath from running back and forth. It was getting too light, and so from that end, I couldn't see where the laser was down on the step-in stake that I've got down here. So I had to keep on running back and forth to check it to see where the line was. And I'd come down, I'd check it, it'd be 2 inches off to the one side, and I'd go back and I'd try looking down as far as I could see where I could still see the laser on the ground, and I'd move it over a little bit, I'd come back down, check it, it'd be 2 inches off on the other side. So I don't know how many trips it took back and forth. I finally got that lined up. Then I was able to get that one in down there off from the 90 that we had from the laser sitting over there. And so I just pulled down to this one right here, and that is pretty darn close. It's maybe half an inch or an inch short, which for what we're doing, I think that's probably good enough. So our next step is to start putting posts in our corners where we got our step-in stakes a little bit earlier. And that is these guys right here. I think they're like 6 foot tall, maybe 6.5, something like that. And then we've got this little plug that goes in the end, and this is what we hit with our sledgehammer. That way we aren't kind of mushrooming over the ends of the posts. That kind of takes the majority of the force of the hammer not hitting perfectly perpendicular on there, and it keeps the ends of our posts nice and square. Now these are supposed to be driven in 30 inches into the ground. I'm probably only going to put them in maybe 20-ish. It seems really weird to say, but I ran out of dark this morning in order to be able to get an idea of how level this area is. My guess is that this corner down here is the lowest and that one up there is the highest, but it's really hard to tell for sure. So I'm probably gonna have to wait until this evening maybe in order to bring the level back out and kind of see how this area lies. But if we only drive them in like 20 of the 30 inches, I can always come back later and drive them in the rest of the way. But as long as we get them in mostly, I can go ahead and start getting stuff in place and start getting stuff laid out. I guess we'll call that good for now. We might end up having to put some concrete or something, some cement around these corner ones to help anchor them in place. But for now, we'll just leave these, and then we can get our corners laid out, and then we can start getting our ones that go down the line in place as well, and then we can circle back around to these corner ones. All right, so I'm either gonna be really happy or really sad after this next step, which is now that we got all of the corner ones in, we gotta do measurements and make sure everything lines up for all the sides, the ends, and our diagonals. And if everything's, we'll say, pretty darn close with that, that'll, for what we're building here, it'll be good enough. But yeah, we'll see here in just a second. Alrighty, it's not quite as perfect as I would like it to be, but I've decided it's fine where it's at. So this length coming down on this side is a little bit shorter than that length going down over there. The thing is, I think that if I try pulling this one out and then moving it back a little bit so that it's the same length as that one, I'm going to end up with a little hole down there where the post is now, and then I think that might create some issues trying to drive it right back in right beside where it is currently. So our next step is we need to run a string from end to end on each side, and then we can start driving in the posts that go down every 4 feet along the whole length. Alrighty, well, we got all the ones down on that side. They're all in. Of course, we still got to get them all adjusted for height, but those are all in place. Got the strings moved over to this side. So we're ready to wash, rinse, and repeat for this side. So we got to get all the posts laid out. I still got to get the tape measure moved over here, get the posts spaced out, laid out, ready to go, and drive in 23 more of these things, I think, something like that. Alrighty folks, well, we have kind of gone full circle at this point. We're back out here in the dark. You can see the moon up there, and we once again have the laser level out here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try getting all of these driven down to the same depth. I've got a little bit more slope from end to end than I thought I was going to have. Like I think I kind of said before, it's really hard to tell grade without really being able to see it with something like the laser or having a transit or something like that. So Tomorrow we may end up doing a little bit of grading in here, trying to bring some of the dirt from this side down to that side, getting a little bit more leveled out. But for tonight, we're just going to try getting the posts all to the same level, and then that'll make it easier to tell what the dirt's doing when we start messing with that, because there's holes in the post, so I can use those as a gauge for how level it is from end to end. Alrighty, so last night I got the laser level set up. I got all the posts leveled up so that they're all on the same plane. And then after I got that done, I was really able to see how badly out of grade this was down through here. And so as you just saw, I got the skid steer and I just worked on kind of dragging through here, getting the soil churned up a little bit with the teeth, and then I'd kind of scrape some soil and dump it down at that end. And after doing that a good few times, I got it pretty well leveled out here. So this evening when it starts getting dark again, we'll set the laser level up again. I'll drive them all down, probably another, I think about 4 inches, and then that should be good for those. And then the next step would be to start assembling the bows and getting those on top of our posts. Alrighty folks, well that is going to be it for this time. Since Past Me just told you what we're going to be doing in the next video, I'm not going to bother repeating that. So as always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.